Hello and welcome to today's webinar, an eLearning Brothers view of Articulate 360. My name is Adam Cannon. I am an eLearning evangelist here at eLearning Brothers. I specialize in Articulate products, so I'm happy to present this webinar today on the newest Articulate product, Articulate 360. This came out back in November. Before we get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and give a quick disclaimer. First of all, I've been in the e-learning industry for about 15 years, and I've used all kinds of tools. I love Articulate. I also have used Captivate and different e-learning tools as well. So I have a fairly wide breadth of knowledge, and I'm thrilled to be able to share that with you from time to time in these webinars. I do not, though, and I have not ever worked for Articulate. So this is not a sales pitch for Articulate's suite of products. This is just looking at since it came out in November, we've had some questions and some comments and things, and people wondering about how our tools and assets and resources work within this new Articulate suite of products. And so that's what my goal is today, is to show you that. I'm not here to sell Articulate 360. You can download a demo version from the Articulate site. You can pay for it if it's something you like. It doesn't. I get no positive benefit or reward if you do or don't. So it's up to you. This is, like I said, this is just a chance to show you really quickly what the tool is, and then to go through how our assets and resources and Cutout People and so forth work within that tool. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started and take a look at it. If you've noticed, when you download Articulate 360, whether it's the demo version or the fully paid version, you see on your taskbar down here, you get this new Articulate logo, this A with the line over the top, very sort of modern looking. And when you click on that, it pulls up this window here, this window with several apps in it. If you haven't installed them, it will have these open buttons will actually say install out here. And you see there are 4 applications, well actually 5 applications if you include Prezzo, which is just for the iPad, so it doesn't work on a desktop. But there are 5 applications that you install, and there are 4 of these web-based tools: Ryze, Articulate Review, the Content Library, and Articulate Live. So I'm going to start down here with the web-based tools and show you them and give you some good insight into those. So Articulate 360 is a suite of products. If you're familiar with Articulate in the past, they have had Storyline, they've had Studio, which included Presenter, which was a PowerPoint plugin, as well as Engage and Quizmaker. They've had, their video replay tool. They've had, and then the eLearning Heroes website. And so this is a chance to sort of package a lot of that into one, as well as add some new features. And so we're going to start down here. I'm going to start at the very bottom and kind of work my way up. Okay, so Prezzo, like I said, it doesn't show that it's installed, and I can't really show that to you because I'm not on an iPad. But if you have an iPad, you can install Prezzo, and that's a neat little authoring tool that you can use on your iPad. There's some good videos for that out on the website that you can look at. Articulate Live. This is a site for live training. This is where you can go to view various webinars. You can get questions answered. You can find out stuff about, animated button effects, working with your subject matter experts. You see that they regularly have a getting your questions answered session. This is really good because they look at the Articulate community and they regularly answer questions. And so if you don't want to take the time to dig through all the community forum responses and questions, this is a great way to go and get some of those top questions answered. I know having spent a lot of time in the Articulate community, that sometimes it can be a little daunting because it seems like there's always a new question coming up, and some of them are repeats of old questions, and some of them are old conversations that just somebody makes a comment on, and so it pops it back to the top. So in this one, they take some of those top questions from the Articulate community. You can submit your own questions when you register, and then they'll answer some of those questions. They'll give you quick tips and helps to move you forward. You know that you see that there's one of these sessions tomorrow. There's also these other sessions on, getting started. If you're not familiar with Articulate 360, this is really a good one. I would encourage you to go to that. This session that I'm doing today is sort of an overview of how it works and how some of our stuff works with Articulate 360. So we're not going to go in depth into some of the things that you would see in this webinar, but there's a lot of different webinars here, and they're constantly adding new ones. So this is one I would come back to quite a bit. So that's what's there. That's Articulate Live. This is, and like I say, this is, come back to this quite often because it really does change quite a bit, and there's a lot of good information there. And you can even attend those your questions answered webinars regularly, because they will always be answering new questions. Up the ladder from that is the content library. And again, we'll take a look at this. So we're going to bring that one over here. So this is a growing library of assets. This is a great tool. There's a lot here. There are some templates, and there are some cutout people. And this is where a lot of people wonder, how do we, as eLearning brothers, where this is sort of where we play as well, how do we, handle this, or how do we feel about this? And really, this is not, we love Articulate 360. There's a lot there in their templates and their characters and their content library. There's a lot of good things there. They have a lot of animated or illustrated characters that we don't have. We don't have a lot of the graphic design resources to do a lot of the illustrated characters. And so there's a lot of great illustrated characters here that you can put, that all have different states and poses you can put them in. There's a lot of photorealistic as well, but you see a lot of these are illustrated, and they have different industries and things. And you can search by, as you're in there, and we'll go into it once we get into the tool, but you can see over here on the left, you can search by illustrated, you can search by female if you want. You could say, I want corporate, and I want in the 20 to 50 range. And so it gives you a fairly customized search there of your characters. Again, each character has a bunch of poses. There are quite a few poses there. They are adding more every day. We also have cutout people, and we'll go into our version in just a minute that you can look at. But also in the content library, they have templates. And these are some great templates that they've done a good job of really making these, modern looking. They've got some sleek look and feel, buttons, and all sorts of different things that you can look at with them. They've got different layouts. And the nice thing about these is they play across both Storyline 360 as well as Studio 360. So these will play well in PowerPoint, a lot of them. Some of them have the cutout people or the characters already in them. Some of them are, they're quiz slides, different things. There's a lot of good stuff here. And because they're very basic with their color schemes, these are essentially slides. And again, we'll look at that as we get into it. But that's a big part of the content library as well. So there's featured content. It will tell you what are some of the new things coming out. They've got this new Jet and Gianna characters and this new Vibrance template. They've got template sets, so forth. A new thing that's coming down the road is a stock image library. Again, they'll have a bunch of stock images, and to be honest, there's always lots of stock image libraries out there. We're all familiar with iStock Photo and Stock Exchange and the Adobe stock library, and eLearning Brothers has a stock library, and there's lots of them. And for my needs, I've always found that it's never a bad thing to have access to multiple, because They're all going to have different focuses on what they sort of specialize in. So that's coming. They don't have a timeline on when it's coming, but it is. They do tell you it's coming on the coming soon page. So we'll look at. I'm going to close this window out. So now that's the content library. And you notice when you launched it. Let me just come back here. That when it launches, you can see these templates and these characters, but you can't download them from here. In order to get them, you have to download within the tools in itself. So you have to access them within Articulate 360, either Storyline or Presenter or one of the tools. So next up the line is Articulate Review, which is a great tool. This is a place where you can go to share your content with others, with your SMEs, with your management team, with other instructional designers, and they can make comments on them. You know, you can see that I've got a course here called Escape. I don't remember what this course is. It was done a little while ago. Oh, it's just a template. So, and I can go in here and I can say, I can comment on it. I can say, hey, this looks great. And they've added a new feature that I can add an emoticon to it if I want. I can say smiley. Okay. I can even go out and share it with other people who are on 360. Okay, and so then that's there. And I can do that whether that's for a course that was created in Storyline or for screen capture. This is just a course that I had that I created quickly using a screen capture tool. It's just a quick introduction to Paint, so it's a little 30-second course. But you see that it runs just as it would as normal, and you can see it. I can go in and see the feedback. I can see comments that are there, and I can go in and I can choose to share it. And much like you see in Google Drive or some of the other tools, Dropbox, whatever, I can share a link directly to them so that they can get right into it. So if I take this and I say, you know, copy that link, and if I, you know, paste that over here, so now there's a link out there in the chat window on the webinar that you can go out and you could click on and you could give your own feedback on this particular course. I can also go in and see the resolved comments. I could disable comments if I don't want people to talk about it. I could export it directly to an LMS, or I could download it so that if I wanted to download it and run it offline, I could do that as well. You can see that by clicking on the little speech bubble here, that takes away my comment window on the right, the comment pane. And when it's active, I can see the lines in there as well. So, you know, just if you want to see how it works, you can take a minute. Hopefully you can click on that link and come in here and leave some feedback or make some comments really quick, and we can see how that works. But yeah, it's really nice. This Articulate Review is a great way to share it and get comments without having to send the file via email or via your chat, Skype, or IM or whatever, or even walk it over on a flash drive to people. You can put it right here on the web. They can access it. They can access it from about anywhere, and because it's on the web, they can really access it from their phone as well. And you can even, when you share it, you can even set up a password so that even if you shared it, you could share the link with people and then give them a password separately so that if someone did happen to grab that link, you know, some nefarious person, they wouldn't necessarily be able to access it without that password. And you notice that it says anyone can view this item. So they can't really go in and edit it, but they can view it and they can comment on it and so forth. So that's Articulate Review. I'm watching to see if there's any questions come across. I haven't seen any yet, but feel free to ask as we go. We'll see if we can answer them as we go. But Articulate Review is a great tool for collaboration, and it's I'm really glad that Articulate has put that in. Ryze is their new mobile authoring tool. This is great because it gives you a chance to design strictly pretty much for mobile, although you can see it on the web, and it's really easy. You've got we'll go back here and I'll actually go through. It's got a getting started you can watch here. You can click on new course. You can see the courses that you've created out here. You can see I've got one titled No Title that is still in process. Here's a good one that's more fleshed out. But it just basically comes across when I'm in my edit mode. I see these buttons across the top, and I can go to preview and see what the course looks like. And because I have these different breakpoints, my desktop, my tablet portrait, tablet landscape, mobile portrait, mobile landscape, I can see what it would look like on those different devices. And you can see how it works, and I can still run it from here. So I can see that by scrolling down, I can come back to the desktop. And so you can see that Ryze is really made to enable you to author a course really simply and quickly as you go through and create a course that's functional on any size device, really. It brings it down and makes it easy for you to run. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at, and when I'm in preview mode, you notice I can click on edit, and it lets me go in and edit it. I can go in and edit content, so forth. So if I want to go back, I can click on that menu. You see this little dotted menu up in the top left. That takes me back to this main screen here, where I can go in and I can create a new course. And there's a whole lot of courses and guidelines that walk you through how to do this. But pretty much it's, you start by giving your course a title. You can say, this is a sample course, and you can type in a description. I can add in a lesson title. I can, if I want to edit it or as that as a section, I can hit Shift and Enter, and it becomes a section. And then I can add another lesson title, and this is Lesson 1, Part 1. Okay? And then I can go in and I can add content. So this is really quick. I've got different types of content I can add. I can add video, labeled graphics, process. I can embed a URL, a sorting activity, timeline, quiz, or I can do blocks, which just gives me a custom way of doing this. And so these are some pre-built ones. A labeled graphic brings it in, and I can change the graphic very easily. I can change the image here, go in and grab an image and say I'm going to go to my downloads, and I'm going to grab this image here and bring it in, and it's uploading, and then I can change over here the item, what it looks like. I can add in media if I want. I can change the text that pops up, and then when I preview it, it pops up and it'll show me the text there. So I can go back to edit. At any time I can preview it, at any time I can edit it. So I can change what those are. I can change the marker styles here. I could change that to a heart if I wanted. Okay, so there's a lot of ways to really play with this and to really get into this. We can, all these different types of content and so forth, you can go to. And I would really encourage you to go look through on the Articulate 360 page and on on this menu of the Articulate Ryze to really look at this getting started course. It gives you a lot of good information there. But Ryze is really just a mobile authoring tool. It gives you a quick kind of linear layout of courses, text, audio, whatever. Like I said, it like this one, it walks you through. You can see the menus. I can go through and I can take a quiz. I can preview it. I can take the quiz, but it just gives me that opportunity to see what it looks like on various devices. And you can create it very quickly and easily to see how it's going to work, and you can go back and forth between preview and edit, and then when you're ready, you can save it out to Articulate Review if you need to get it reviewed, or you can save it out and publish it for an LMS. So I can export it here. I can track full course completion. I can track using a quiz result. You can see I can change my SCORM type, SCORM, AICC, tin can, or no LMS if it's just going to be a web version. So there's some various settings there as well. All right, and if I want to share it on Articulate Review, I can do that as well. Okay, there's settings here. I can change the theme. I can upload a logo. I can customize the theme and the colors and so forth. I can change the navigation. It can be free navigation or restricted. If I say I only want them to go through a course, if I want them to go through in order and not have the ability to bounce around, I can lock that navigation. Generally on mobile courses, it's recommended that you leave it at free, but that is up to you and your organization. So that's Articulate Ryze. And so those are the web-based components, the Live, the Library, Review, and Ryze, and they're really great there, and they work well together. Articulate Peek, we'll take a real quick look at that, and we'll take a peek at Peek, I guess. Give it just a minute to open up. Here it comes. So this is just a screen recording tool. I can just create a new recording. I can go in and I can say I want to record, what I'm doing. And it just makes a quick, I can select an application, and it makes a quick recording. This is similar to, a Snagit or, even a really light version of a Camtasia that you certainly don't have nearly the functionality that you do in Camtasia. But it's a quick little screen capture tool that if you just want to create a quick little tutorial and walk through it, you can grab that and say, I'm going to select this. I'm going to go grab the screen. I'm going to start it. And it does a quick little recording. And I can say, I'm going to look here. Okay. And I say done. And it grabs it. And then I can upload it to that. Or I can update an existing recording. If I made a recording and I needed to update it, I could update that. I can even play it before I upload it to see what's happening. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's actually audio that went with it that recorded it. But I can, so that's what Peek is a quick screen recording tool. Articulate Replay 360. And again, if I'm going too fast, please let me know. I apologize if I'm sort of blowing through some of this stuff, but there's a lot that I want to get to. So this is a little bit more robust tool. I can create an audio, a video, audio. I can record screen, so I can come in here and I can say, I want to record, this screen. And maybe I say I want to bring this in to here. I say no audio. So I want to record. It tells me press escape when done. So I go in here and I click, okay, I can click profile and account. I can, I could click get. All right. So it shows me some things and then I can say done. Then I can come in here and I can edit it. And this is where you get a little bit more into similar types of things. This is the AB is I could record a webcam of me talking and then bouncing back and forth. And you see this done a lot on the Articulate. Tom Coleman does this a lot, where he's showing some of the features of Articulate. You'll see his face for a minute, and then he'll jump over to the screen. So this is a good way of doing that. B would be the webcam. A inside of B shows you sort of a picture-in-picture. B inside of A would show your picture down here, different things. So again, there's a lot of features here. There's also a lot of tutorials out there on how to use it. So I would encourage you to go find out more about that, but it's a great tool to have. And the nice thing is with Articulate 360, when you purchase the subscription, you get all these tools in one. You're not having to buy Peak and Replay and Studio separate from Storyline. You get all the tools for free. It is a yearly subscription, so you do have to pay every year to come back around to it. Studio is the typical studio stuff that we've got Presenter, Quizmaker, and Engage. Those are fairly similar to what they've been. And then Storyline. I'm going to jump into Storyline because this is really where I want to focus kind of the remainder of the time. If you need me to go into Studio 360, I can, but there are a lot of tutorials out there as well. So we're going to go in here and we're going to look at, you notice that the interface, if you've ever used Storyline, either Storyline 1 or 2, the interface isn't a lot different. There's a few new things that have been added. One of them is this new interaction, this dial interaction. I've got 3 types of dials that I can interact with. There's also a new button type that is this rectangular button without rounded corners they've added in. There's also some new triggers. If you notice on the triggers, I've got, there are triggers here based on, and I think I have to add a shape first, but so I'll go in and add a shape, and then I can add a trigger. And I can, jump to slide, win, and here's where you've got some different things. When the animation completes, when the object intersects or object intersection ends, when it enters the slide or leaves the slide, so I can set triggers based on that. The other thing that's fairly new is with the motion path. If I go in and add a motion path and say I want this to just go this way, you notice I can name it here. I can give it a name and say, this is, box downward. And so then when I look at my timeline, or then as I'm looking at my motion paths, I can see a whole bunch of them, see what they are. And I understand what they're going to do. So I can go in and I can see that, and then when I preview just this slide, really it works about the same. The box comes and moves downward. All right. So then as I want to, if I need to set a trigger based on that motion path, I can do that. Jump to slide when, object, and when animation completes, animation, and there it is, box downward. I don't need to figure out what that motion path is to go for. So those are some new things in Storyline. And so in Storyline 2, there's a lot there. But what I want to spend the rest of the time focusing on is really looking at some of our templates. We create, here at eLearning Brothers, we create templates and Cutout People for your e-learning tools. And the nice thing is all of our templates that we have work in Articulate 360. All of our Cutout People. The nice thing is too is they also work backwards compatible. One of the things about the Articulate 360 library that you need to be aware of is in their content library, if you download a character or a template for Articulate 360 and you want to put that into Storyline 2, you're not able to. You're able to, those are only available in Storyline 360. I can come in here, for instance, and you can see in the slides, this is where I can access the content library. On the slides menu, content library, and I can go in there and I can see, and you can see that I can search by various types, various scenarios. If I want a darker version, I can search for the dark version, and I can say, I want this one, I want to insert it in. It takes just a minute to insert it in. And so I can only access that content library from within 360, and this slide, Storyline 360, is not back. It's backwards compatible in that I can open Storyline 1 and Storyline 2 files in 360, but I can't go the other way. So that's important to remember, that if you create a project, a story in Storyline 360 or in Studio 360, you're not going to be able to go back and use that. Like if your subscription expires, you'll need to, redo that or find a way to make it work, because you're not gonna be able to access that once it's there, if you don't have 360 running. So anyway, back to what I really wanted to talk about was our templates. We have a whole library full of templates and cutout people and stock assets, things like that. We have a free library that if you don't have an account yet, please make sure to go get one. It's free. You just need to give us your name and email address. You can get one. You can send a message. You can call or send a message to support, or you can just sign up right on the website itself for a free subscription. So, and we also have, within that, we have a member library. This is a great feature, and we'll touch on this right at the end, but we're going to focus on our library right now. And we're going to look at our template library and our storyline template library. So within this, you see as I go down, I can go into if I go back to here and I say templates, and I go into storyline, I have a whole course starters, games, interactions, layouts, navigation players, and scenarios. Each of those works. The navigation players are where you get a little bit, that they may get a little wonky, because these are designed with earlier versions of story. Some of these are widgets that don't work as well with Storyline 360, so just be careful of those. But the rest of our templates, course starters, games, interactions, layouts, and scenarios, all will work with Storyline 360. Sometimes you need to do a little bit of a tweak because they call different things. If they use JavaScript, there may be some different things that you need to do, but our support people are great. They can help you through that at any time. And people ask me all the time, so I get Articulate's course library with Articulate 360 subscription. Why do I want eLearning Brothers? And my answer to that is, well, first of all, we have a lot of templates that, that they may not have. They've got a great library, and I would encourage you to use it. We looked at some of them, but we have we've been putting together our library for years, and we have things like games that they haven't yet gotten into. And also, all our templates will work in any version of Storyline. So if you download our template, you can run it in any version of Storyline. And if you download it and open it in 360 and it creates a backup file for you, you can still get to it and you can still use it. And it's great across any version of 360. The other thing is you can get to our content library right here from the web and download stuff right here from the web. You don't have to be inside of the tool to do it. So you can go through and navigate. So they play great together. Both of them, we give you the source file so you can customize them. If you want to use our template intermingled with their templates, that's great. But there's so much that you get with an eLearning Brothers subscription that really it would behoove you to look at that. So we're going to look at an interaction, for instance. And I went out and downloaded a couple, but I'm going to show you how to get one. So we're going to go download this one, this match people to label. Okay, I'm just going to go out. I click on it. I download. You can see it's a Storyline template file. So I'm going to download it. It takes a minute to download. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it by double-clicking on it. And this is a step that you need to take in 360. All right. So I'm going to not save that. I'm going to go back into my downloads folder. Oh, sorry. I want to go in this way, and I want to go into storyline, open storyline. I need to look at 21368, that's what I'm looking for. So I can go to Browse, go look at my Downloads folder. And it says it was built with the previous version. Would you like to upgrade it? I say upgrade. It upgrades it. And then it comes in. And then what I would suggest doing is you can go out and you can save it as a template. And I go into my documents, into my Articulate projects, my storyline templates, and I just save it right there. And I can say yes, overwrite, because now it saves it as a 360 template to now if I go to a new project and I go up here and I go to slides and I go to my templates and I can go in and I can say, here is that template now that I just downloaded, and it's there, and I can use it and I can import it and use it right in my slideshow. It comes in, it gives you some instructions on what you can do. One of the things you'll find out about a lot of our templates is there's a lot of interactivity, a lot of motion and things going on. In some ways it's a little bit more advanced. So this is a drag and drop, and it tells you, gives you the instructions. You can see the layers that are here that it's been created with. You can see the triggers and so forth. I can just go and do a quick preview. I can say preview this slide. And it takes just a minute. Some of the games, if you do this preview, it takes a while for it to preview because there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of JavaScripting and so forth. But this one I can say, okay, take label 3, drop it there. Label 1, drop it there. Label 2, drop it there. Gives me an incorrect feedback, so I can replay it. Label, maybe label 1 goes here. You can see that I've got these markers. I can learn about him, and I can change these at any time. So I can go in and I could change these people to Cutout People if I wanted to go get a character from my library. I said I want to go back. I want to go into the library. Now I want to go to the Cutout People. Cutout People library. And you can see right off the bat, I've got a whole bunch of different characters. I even have these storyline character sets. These are whole sets of 10 poses each. That is a set of people in various uniforms, dress, different things. Some of them are medical, some of them are business, some of them are casual. I can filter up here on any of my Cutout People by all of these features: age, body, clothing, education, so forth. So there's a lot of information there. But when I go in and I say, I want to look at this one, and I can see that she comes with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 10 states. And so as I download her, and you get the graphic source file so that you could go in and edit her directly yourself as well. So there's a lot there as well. So I can go in and I can say, go into here, file, open. I need to go back over here for a sec. Remember what that's called. So 21645. So right there, I open her. Don't save that project. Yes, upgrade. Sorry, sometimes I mumble to myself, and now I've got her in there, and I can go in and I can see. Oh, you got to select her first. I can see all these states that are already built in. So that's what you get when you download a character pack, a storyline character pack from within our Cutout People. I can also go right into directly in, and I can say, I want just to look at. I'm going to go into all industry. And so I can go in and I can search by, again, any of these filters: children, teenagers, young adults, photorealistic. Maybe I want to cut out the illustrations. I can say I want to go into all industries and silhouettes maybe. I can go into, if I just want someone with gray hair, I want somebody that's male, I want somebody that is you know, Asian. Okay, I get no results there, but maybe I say, you know, I just want a Caucasian for this one. I can see them. If I want clothing as a, you know, a suit, I can go in and say, okay, just show me the ones in a suit. Come on. If I could click right. Excuse me. And so you can see, and it tells you that I've got things selected because they turn green up here. So there's a lot there in our, excuse me, Cutout People library that is there as well. So that's a great tool to look at. We've got our stock assets library that plays well and plays wonderfully in Articulate 360. We've got our images and vector graphics, our audio, and our video. And again, you can just go in and you can search for audio. You can say, I want a sound effect of, you know, maybe I want glass breaking. And so I can go in here and I can maybe hear, you know, different things, glass break. So then I say, I click on that and I can go download it, and then it just comes in and I can insert it right into my storyline file. So there's a lot of great things there. There's also medical images. If you're doing medical images, you can, that's a separate subscription, but you're welcome to, you know, talk to us about that if that's interested. Or you can go into our free library if you have a free subscription. One of the great things in our free library is this brand new asset we uploaded, this periodic table of instructional design. We have it for Storyline, we have it for Captivate, and we have it for Lectora. And it's interactive, so as you go into it, and you can see that you can click on them and they pop up a description. This is just a preview, so it doesn't function as well in the preview mode, but you can see that it's an interactive tool there. This is the Lectora version. But there are a lot of other things. There's some free Cutout People in here. There's actually, and we'll talk about this in just a second, there's actually a contest going on with our Cutout People, or about to go on. There's some stock assets, PowerPoint graphics, things like that. So there's a lot here to be said for our Cutout, for our library. And then finally is our member library. And this is a great new asset that we just opened up in the last couple months. And this is a chance where our members, those with a paid subscription, can come in and they can contribute their own creations. You're familiar with the, you know, with the eLearning heroes on the Articulate site, and they have, you know, their templates that members have created and downloads that members have created. This is a good chance for you to do that as well. We have, you know, this is one that somebody took some of our Cutout People and one of our templates and changed it to have a restaurant feel for a restaurant that was a red and black that had an Acme logo. There was one in here that's, you know, office. This one is an office setting with 4 topics. You know, it's a 4-topic thing with a neat little office background. And that was a contest winner in our latest contest. So there's a lot of, and this will continue to grow as people add more and more to it. You can even, you know, that we'll eventually get into all of the different categories here of Cutout People and stock assets and whatever. There's a team library where you, as a team, could go in and you can, as a team, share your information. So this is a bit like Articulate Review, except that here you can share the actual source files so that you can put them up there. Your team can share them out and about, and you can then use them within your own company to create a nice team library, a nice repository of assets and so forth. And so there's a lot there to be said for eLearning Brothers. And the great thing about all of these templates and Cutout People and so forth is that they all play so well in Storyline and Captivate and whatever. And one of the great things I love about, for instance, our Cutout People is that if I go in here into our Cutout People library and I say, I'm just going to go in here, if I want to go in and say I want a business person, these aren't product specific. So if I want to use Rodney here, and I'm creating courses in Storyline and Captivate, for instance, in my company. I've been in companies where sometimes we use both, but I want a common sort of narrator to go throughout the course. I can download Rodney and use him in any of my tools. He's not just specific to Storyline or to Articulate. So there's some great benefits to that even if you switched over and you said, hey, you know, this guy has sort of become the face of our e-learning at our company. We want to use him, and I want to go forward from there. As we look at, you know, and I brushed by this quickly, but as we look at our templates and we go into Storyline and we go in, for instance, into the scenarios, you know, if I go in here, you notice that you get not only the template file, but you also get the graphic source files, which includes, you know, the various graphics that are used, as well as the font files, so that you can make your course look and feel like you want it to look, but you can also use those fonts and so forth throughout. So we give you all the tools that you need to customize those templates as you need. And so I really, you know, we are a great proponent of Articulate 360. We love the tool. Articulate does great things. The eLearning Heroes is a great site for getting your questions answered, and Articulate this, you know, Articulate Live is a great source of webinars. But don't forget that we also have this plethora of templates and Cutout People that we've spent years developing that work in all versions of Storyline, they work across the tools. For a lot of our templates, if you want to use them in, you know, if you want to use one of our more popular templates is this game show template. If I go into the game, this game show template, you can actually find that in any of our tools because it's one of our most popular games. It's kind of a Jeopardy style game. And you can find that and use that across a version for Lector and a version for Captivate as well. So there's so much here that you get with your eLearning Brothers subscription that plays so well with Articulate 360. And so I encourage you, if you haven't yet, you know, get in and look at some of these stuff. If you've got the demo version, go in and actually play with it. It's not scary. Really, if you're familiar with Storyline 1 and 2, Storyline 360 doesn't have a lot of new changes to it. There's some of those minor ones, the new dial, the new button, the motion path naming, things like that. But there's not a lot there that's new and scary that you need to worry about. You can play with it. You can do whatever. Look at the things that you can do in there. Go in and look at Ryze, a great mobile authoring tool for creating devices or creating courses that are designed primarily for your mobile devices. And look at, you know, particularly go into Articulate Live and look at their webinars. But then also come take a look as well. Go out to eLearningBrothers.com, look at our library. Feel free to get a hold of us for any help and support. So I feel like I've talked really quickly and covered a lot of ground, but I want to make sure that you have a few minutes for questions. So please feel free to ask any questions in the next few minutes, and we'll leave it there, and I'll watch for questions. If some come up, I'll answer them here. This will also be available in a recorded version on Monday on our blog site, in a little webinar recap and a recorded version. And if there are questions that come about afterwards that come across the support line or across email, I will answer those in that post as well. So I'll open the field for questions if there are any. I'll wait and see if any come across the question tool. So I'm not seeing any questions come across right away, but again, feel free if you've got questions to email them to support@eLearningBrothers.com. They will get passed on to me. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. I've enjoyed having you here and having a few minutes to go over Articulate 360. Thank you and have a nice day.